We have 158 voters in the hall. We do have a quorum. This meeting is called to order. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 7th night of town meeting. I won't read all of the rules as I had read them the first few nights. They are exactly the same for all of tonight as they have been for the past 6 sessions. Please keep in mind that town meeting does not come to an end until all the agenda items on the warrant have been decided, either by approval, by being defeated, or no action deliberately taken. I'm hoping that we can accomplish a lot tonight and finish. It would be wonderful if we could do that. I want to once again remind you that the door to the rear of the hall is an emergency exit, as well as the one on my right. If you need to leave the hall, please use this doorway to my left, and that's to preserve the integrity of the meeting. Again, I will remind you that everyone should be civil and respectful. There should be no calling out, no applause, no rude behavior. And please remember that those around you are trying to listen to the speakers, so if you could keep your comments quiet. On the first night of town meeting, the body voted that the proponent of the article will have 5 minutes to speak, and that voters wishing to speak to the article will have 2 minutes, with the caveat that the moderator may choose not to cut someone off in mid-sentence, but will give the person speaking a warning that time is concluding and that they need to wrap it up. Once again, I remind you, if you are parked in the fire lane, please make sure that you move your vehicle. That is heavily enforced. Please turn off your cell phones, and there is no food or drink in the auditorium. And also, it is a state law that there is no smoking on school property. If you feel that you need to go out and have a cigarette, you need to leave the property entirely. Before we begin, Article 2, Section 2.6 of the Town Charter states that all department heads shall attend the session of each town meeting for the purpose of providing the town with information pertinent to warrant articles. I will now call for a roll call of department heads. Board of Health, Chief Assessing Officer, Community Development, Council on Aging, Management Technology, EMS, Inspectional Services, Municipal Maintenance, Planning, Police Department, Harbor Master, Town Accountant, Town Collector Treasurer, Library, Water Pollution Control, the Town Clerk, Board of Selectmen, and Finance Committee are also present. Mr. Slavin.
I would like to make a motion to take off the table Article 65, bring it back up.
Thank you. Article 65 was the charter article that we were discussing at the end of last night's meeting that was placed on the table. We have a motion before us to remove it from the table. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Article 65 is before you. May I have a motion, Mr. Slavin?
I move to amend the town charter to remove and clarify transitional provisions as follows. In section 84-A, remove the words, "The Board of Sewer Commissioners in office at the time the charter is adopted shall continue to perform the duties of their office until June 30th of the year in which the charter is adopted. At such time, the office of the Sewer Commissioners shall be terminated, and the powers, duties, and responsibilities of the office shall be transferred to the Board of Selectmen. The maintenance, improvement, and operational functions of the Sewer Department shall be under the supervision of the Municipal Maintenance Department of the town, and persons employed by the Sewer Department on the 30th of June aforesaid will be transferred to the Maintenance Department and shall, insofar as it is possible to do so, continue to perform the same duties as they previously performed." We want to remove that and insert the words, "At the time the charter change is adopted, where the sewer commissioners are no longer the Board of Selectmen, but are now elected, the existing sewer commissioners shall perform the duties of said office until the new elected sewer commissioners are qualified. The election of the sewer commissioners shall take place in conjunction with the town's April election. They shall take office May 1st of the election year. If the charter change is adopted after the town's April elections or before December of the same year, a special election will be held within 120 days after adoption. The newly elected sewer commissioners shall take the oath of office 30 days after the election. The town administrator, with the assistance of the sewer plant manager, shall assume responsibilities for the day-to-day operation, care, and maintenance of the sewer department during the changeover of the commissioners.
May I have a second? To speak to the article. Mr. Paulson, you raised to a point of order?
I believe Mr. Slavin said it says here the following year, not the same year.
It's being changed now.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson.
Thank you.
Of the same year. Correct.
Thank you. To speak to the article.
We have already gone ahead and approved taking the sewer commissioners and changing from the Board of Selectmen, and we've moved them over to an elected sewer commissioners. The transition just gives you the schedule of how things would transfer over, and it gives you the time frames when the election would take place and how many days after the election when they take office, and during that 30-day period, how the plant would run as far as who would be basically concerned with the day-to-day operation and the overall.
Thank you. May I have the vote of the Board of Selectmen, please?
Board of Selectmen voted favorable action, 2 in favor and 2 opposed.
And may I have the vote of the Finance Committee?
Madam Moderator, the Finance Committee voted on this article as it was originally printed in the warrant. So we voted 0, 3, 5 opposed to the action.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article 65? On my left.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Bob Brady, Precinct 6. Through you to the body, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to reiterate what I spoke to last evening. I'm not clear on why it's being proposed that we take out the history from 1977 from our Home Rule Charter. I heard last night that it was suggested that it was cluttered. If you read the charter, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly the transition that was designed and implemented when we adopted this Home Rule Charter in 1977. To suggest that we're going to now take out that transition from the history and put in it now a new transition as we now voted in this town meeting to elect our sewer commissioners separate of the Board of Selectmen is a separate issue in itself. I think we're mixing apples and oranges here. I would strongly urge us to keep the history in the charter, and if we want to now amend the charter, which we all voted to do in Section 3, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not sure what article it was, but we agreed to elect now sewer commissioners separate of the Board of Selectmen. And that will be approved, assuming the AG approves it, and it will become part of the document. We don't need to take 30-year-old history and discard it and then come up with today's transitional language. And lastly, as to the election, upon the election, and I think we should be clear that we don't need to have a special election to elect sewer commissioners. We have voted to do it. It's now subject to the approval from the AG. And why can't we just do it at our normal annual election in April? And further, the town administrator, I don't know why we need that bottom paragraph for language. The town administrator is still responsible for the operation of that treatment facility. We don't need special language giving him more.
10 seconds.
We don't need any additional language to identify his responsibilities. It's already in the charter.
Thank you. Gentleman on my right.
Madam Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not categorically opposed to this article. However, there is one word in the second paragraph. Cliff Sylvia, Precinct 1. There is one word in the second paragraph that does bother me because it does appear to be arbitrary and capricious. I don't quite understand what it means to be qualified, what the criteria is to be qualified, and who will determine whether or not